Yeah. Well, it started actually it's a 1,000-year-old village. And, people, farmers live there. Tight community, 50 people. It started growing, and then since the location is good between Arezzo and Florence, it became more flourishing. So people need to build more houses, a school and a church, and well, and in the end, 100 years ago, almost 100 people, 300 people lived there, and it was a very flourishing community where everybody had his own task and a job. So, but then in 1960, almost everybody had left there because of the farmers who've been upscaling their businesses and fields. They all left to lower areas, to flat areas, to work the grounds, to work the fields. And so the owner left in an empty village in Tuscany. And so till 4 years ago, when 4 Dutch guys they came, and we're trying to spend the best summer of our life there. And on that journey, we took our guests. So what we found basically was a whole abandoned village. So we opened the doors, the cabinets, and we found just what the people had left there. So furniture, and it was of course that was very special to me. And so we landed there in this beautiful Tuscany hills, where we found that we are located in the middle of a national park. And next to us there's a beautiful river with a waterfall, so we could swim there. And people were very curious what we were doing there. So we had our neighbors, they came and are sneaking a little bit. What are these Dutch guys doing there with these guests? And so we invited them for beers. So of course in Italy you get invited back to their houses, and they showed us how they ate, what their traditions were. So a neighbor, Fabrizio, showed us how he made sausages and how he cured the meat. And another neighbor, he showed us how to forage truffles with a dog in the forest in a national park. And of course we take our guests on this journey with us.
We get all sorts of different types of people, really. It's really popular with families. It's a really great way for parents to introduce their children to a different culture, a different style of living. It's not your average holiday, really. You come spend a week, if you can, with us, and the idea is that we completely immerse you in the Tuscan way of life, the Tuscan community. From, as Leo was saying, going and learning with our butcher how to make sausages, or going down and taking a barbecue down to the river, going and having a local grandma teach you how to make pasta. So I think it's incredibly popular for families, for these kids to really see something completely different, and through sort of honest eyes. It's not being presented to them. It's just what happens from day to day, and we really make that possible for them. Yeah, exactly, and it's a creative's paradise, I think, would be the best way to describe it.
What is really nice that guests, they help in the kitchen without us asking them, or just guests lit the fire in the evening. And sometimes I even when we are in Tuscany, when we are looking for our guests where they are, we see them suddenly gardening somewhere in the village, and or making something creative, and I think I become speechless at that point, because what I then see is that people integrate the concept into themselves and to the hotel. So I think that's extremely cool to see, and for me that's one of the future trends for luxury hospitality. I've been working in 5-star hotels where these kind of things were not possible, and so for me I'm very curious how also different styles of hotels are going to integrate that honesty in their 5-star in their luxury hotels.
I think one of the things I love as well is the relationship between the different types of guests. So we'll have an accountant talking to a carpenter, or an artist talking to a doctor, and all these people are exchanging their experiences, exchanging their talents. And we might have a chef that comes to visit us, and he takes half of our guests foraging in the forest just because he wants to go foraging, and he says who wants to join, and maybe one of us will go too. And it's really that sort of interaction of experience that is, as you said, it's really quite inspiring.